guys, it's Michael Furlong from Rentroll Maximiser, and I have the pleasure of chatting today to Rebecca Berry, Department Head of Hockingstuart Belle St Kilda, but recently crowned, recently crowned with an award, Operational Leadership Award for the REIV. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
How good is it to be industry recognised? You know, because I don't know how the paneling works or who works through the criteria, but it's nice to be recognised by your peers, isn't it?
It is. It feels so good, not just for me, but for my team as well.
Now, we've already covered, you've got a team of 18 in property management alone. So it's a large agency, 1,750 properties.
Yep.
If we go back 12 years, you were a young whippersnapper just entering into the industry, and you joined the agency. Was Hockingstuart back then? Was it? Yeah, Hockingstuart. And you joined in I'm going to say baptism of fire. You went straight into a portfolio.
I did, yeah. Thrown right in the deep end, walked through the doors. I just got back from England. My husband's English. We came back. I thought I need a job. I'd done leasing consultant before. Applied for this, had an interview. They liked me, no experience whatsoever, and started about a week later.
Is that, if we look back at that interview, is that the way you interview now?
No.
Would you have got a job if you were interviewing yourself back then?
Probably not.
How come? Why is that?
If I was interviewing myself.
Yeah. Or no, interviewing your 12-year-ago self, if you could do that.
And would I have given myself a job then?
Yeah.
I think I would have had a great attitude.
Yes.
So maybe, and that's what I look for in my staff now is good attitude. So the skill set's not necessarily needing to be there for me to employ someone. They just need to have a great attitude and drive. And you can see that from the first time you speak to people.
So we're talking really around the recruitment process for yours is specifically property management. But if we use real estate in general, do you call yourself a property manager or a real estate agent, just out of interest?
A real estate agent.
Why is that? Because I'm the same. Why is that, do you think?
I think it just sounds more professional.
Yeah.
I've never really thought too much about it, to be honest.
And so here's my theory, Beck, is that so I'm nearly 20 years real estate.
Yeah.
So I was buyer's advocate, then real estate sales, project marketing at one stage, sales entirely, then a director, then involved in property management, then still a director, and then now a trainer, and then consultant.
Yeah.
Fundamentals behind all of that, real estate agent.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the reason why I say that, so along the way, what are your roles? If you went through in that, so you started out in leasing?
Yeah, I actually started out in reception on a commercial real estate agency in Newcastle.
Okay.
And I learned lots of things there, and I've taken them throughout my entire life with each agency I've worked at. And I went straight into leasing with Ray White in my hometown of Nowra in New South Wales. I was there for about a year doing leasing, and I went travelling overseas, met my husband, and eventually got married, and then came back over here and walked straight into a property management role without actually managing properties before. And
so you've gone at, leasing. And reception, which would have been admin as well. So reception admin. Then you've gone leasing, and then your property management, and then what? So in the last, what's been the progression from there?
Sure. So I had 3 maternity leaves all within. I was there for a property management role for about a year and a half. Then first baby came back for another year. Next baby came back for another year. And I was going to come back and job share a portfolio, but my manager at the time ended up leaving, and my director asked me if I wanted her role as the department manager. And I said, I've got absolutely no experience, but I'm willing to learn.
Sure.
And I started a couple of weeks after that.
So you've gone from property manager to department head, managing a team. You've got 1,750 properties now. What was that then? How many staff did you have? And so how much, because if you walked straight in now without experience at 1,750, the deck of cards would fall.
Crazy. Absolutely. So when I first started managing the department, we had about 800 properties.
Sure. That's still decent.
Yeah, it's still a good amount. Then it would have been about 5 property managers, I would say.
Yep.
I employed a BDM. We didn't have one at the time. Employed a BDM. First of all, I did a lot of the BDM work myself, and
Sure.
I can go into so many things here. So where do you want to direct
Well,
me?
it's more along the lines. So at that stage, when you've just taken over the team, one of the things I'd like to know is, how did the rest of your colleagues see this? Because it would have been an even floor, and then now you've been chosen above.
Yes.
Sometimes there's animosity in that.
I was going to go there. Yeah. So it was extremely, extremely challenging. So when I came back from my maternity leave, there were people there that I didn't know as well, and a lot of senior property managers too. So as you said, they weren't very receptive to me coming in as department manager when I really didn't have any management experience other than managing a portfolio.
Yeah.
I had about 3 people leave because of that.
Okay.
Within a 6-month period or less, actually.
How did you feel? How did you feel?
I was actually quite glad, to be honest, because they probably weren't the right fit for our culture.
Yep. And had you developed a culture at that stage within the group?
There was a culture previously with the people that had always been here, and it was almost a battle of old against the new. And I could see that from the second that I walked into the building, and I could feel it. The energy was. It would suck the life out of you. It was that kind of poor energy. And I thought, I'm going to fix this. And I didn't have to do anything. Often, if people aren't right for your culture, they will just get sucked out of the business.
Self-select.
Absolutely.
Open up the opportunities for you.
Yeah.
Where would you like to go?
Yeah. So I think in a 6-month period, I also had a girl go on maternity leave. I recruited about 4 people within 6 months. I created pretty much a whole new team. Because I was waiting for the right people to come along, I managed a portfolio myself. I was a BDM. I ran the department. I did all the figures, everything that goes along with being a department manager. I would pretty much work night and day, but I was happy to do that because I knew that if I waited for the right people to come along, that I would be able to build the culture that I wanted and be able to have the right people. So
can I just take you back there? So if you're recruiting, so let's just go back to those 4 people, not specifically, but you recruited 4 people in a quick period of time. So did you do that through Seek?
I did initially. So being new to all of this, I put ads on Seek.
Yep. And you would have been inundated with applications.
Yeah, I was inundated. At that time, the ones that I will look at would be the ones with property management experience, because I was in such a pickle with having so many people having left or leaving that I really needed to recruit quickly.
Sure.
I did call some recruitment agents who sent me some CVs, but and I also interviewed some of those people, but I never ended up employing any of them. They weren't appropriate for what I was looking for.
Beck, can we just go back? If what I'm interested here is, if you're going to get, let's just say 50 or 60 applications, so it's a junior role, 50 or 60, and now that's not uncommon, 50 or 60 applications, particularly with Seek, they just send them out.
They just
without even looking at them.
Yeah.
So many of them haven't even read the ad. How do you, first line of culling, how do you go through and cull those? What do you look for in a good CV?
Okay. So I want to see a picture of the person. First and foremost, I want to know who I'm speaking to.
I'm the same.
Yeah, I want to know who I'm speaking to when I call them. I want to be able to picture them in my mind when they're actually speaking to me. That's really important for me. I'm very visual. I want to see in their description part, I don't want to see the same thing that I always see. I am a driven person, blah, blah, blah. I want to see something different. I want them to stand out. They may not have any property management experience, but they might have had experience in customer service. I'll always look at that. If they've looked at, if they've worked at call centres, Virgin or Telstra, I'll look at those.
Yes.
What I do find really helpful, and I will probably call these people more so than Seek applications, is if someone sees my job post on Seek, they call me or send me a personalized email with their CV attached. Okay. So that sifts through a lot of those things for me if it comes directly into my inbox with, a different type of subject heading and the CV attached.
Is that what you ask for in the ad, or you expect for them to? Okay. Because interesting. Yep.
Yeah.
And what else do you look for in a good CV? Because you're not going to be interviewing 60 people.
No. And can I just go back there for a second as
Yeah.
well, because they're the people that are showing initiative and creativity.
Sure.
They're doing something different than hitting the button for seek.
Yes.
So, and that's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting those kind of people in my business. So that's the first step. Tell me that question again, sorry.
I was just saying, you've got 50 or 60, 70 applications,
Yeah.
and you've got to cull them. You're not going to interview them all. So you really are going through a sieve, and you're trying to just sort of shake it, and the ones that are good will rattle out, and they're the ones you'll look at. So you're looking for photographs. You're looking for a good opening line or paragraph. You're looking for someone with some experience that's probably not job hopped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. Always. Yeah,
you don't want 3 months here, 6 months here, and you want someone who's.
But you know what, saying that, I've just employed someone who is job hopped, and I hope she's not going to job hop with me, but she's absolutely incredible, and I feel she perhaps just hasn't found the right environment. I know that we can give her what she's looking for. So if I nurture her, I hope that she'll stay.
Just do you also, when you've shortlisted it down, say we've got it down to 10 people, do you go and do a social media profile? Do you put their name into Google?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, same.
And I look at them on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and this is the thing. So there's an argument where a lot of people say, well, that should be my private life and that should be my professional life. Yeah. Unfortunately, as much as we're not superstars, rock stars, media personality, we're in the public profile space.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer that you go in as a junior or a new entrant, clean up your social media, get rid of all the bikini shots, all the party shots, all the drunken school shots, get rid of all of those, and clean your social footprint up, because the very first thing the landlord's going to do is Google you.
Yeah.
And that's what that's just now the norm. So cleaning up your social footprint's really important. If I was to go back through, so you've gone through a whole series of different roles where you started out 12, 15 plus years ago. When you looked at, you wouldn't have thought you're in where you are today. That wouldn't have been part of your plan to be in St Kilda, partner, department head, where you are today. You've progressed along the way.
I have progressed, but I'm extremely driven, and I always knew that I wanted to have 3 kids in close succession. I also knew I wanted a career, and I've always known that I want to be the absolute best at whatever I choose to do. So whether that was going to be a department manager, I never really had that box ticked, but it was always going to be something. I can't do things in halves. I've always got to go full steam ahead, and I've always got to reach for the stars. It's just in my nature.
And that's something which I've known of you over the years, is that you do get shit done. That's just it. It's just get it done. Would you, if it was a brand new person, say they've either come out of COVID and they've lost their job, they're looking for a real estate, or they're looking for a new career, would you recommend, or someone who's brand new considering, would you recommend this industry to a new person?
I think so. If they're a resilient person and can deal with rejection fairly easily, and sometimes a job that it can be rewarding, but it can also be not rewarding at times. I think it's a great opportunity for career progression, because you can start as a receptionist and work your way up. The people who work in property are amazing. Every property manager that I speak to, or salesperson, they've just got a certain amount of charisma and personality, and I've always found interacting with people from our industry is so fun and pleasurable. Yeah, it's
interesting. As I said to you before, I'm in 20 years. I'm more excited about this industry today than I was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it is, and a lot of that has to do with change.
Yeah,
but more importantly, it has to do with the people.
Yeah,
we're in a people business. If you don't like people, real estate's not for you.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Well done.
Michael, just one more tip I have for you as well, for people who are looking for a job. The other thing that they could do is ask a workplace for work experience. We've had people come in and do work experience, whether it be a couple of weeks or a month or so. we'll give them a little bit of training so that they know software programs, and then they can put that on their CV as well. It's only a short-term thing, but at least it's on there, so they've had a little bit of training. And when those property managers or department managers are scrolling through those CVs, that at least is on there.
And look, that's a fantastic. Well, firstly, one, that you do it, but secondly, a great tip, because that's part of the program that we're writing. Is there'll be a couple of days on site. Simply just to get what it's like to be a real life agent and just shadow somebody. If I was to get 50 CVs and someone came through and said, I've spent a week and I understand how Property Me works, or Property Tree or Console. I've used Inspection Express. I've used IRE as opposed to somebody else. Bingo. That's I'm interviewing them. They're not going to get the job. What we're trying to do, I think, initially is get the interview.
Yes.
And then during the interview. So what do you look for in an interview? Just out of that, when you say we're face to face, not Zoom, but we're face to face, what do you look for in an interview? Are you looking for someone that? And I'll tell you a funny story in a second. But what do you look for? I
look for their personality. Their personality, their attitude, their body language, how they've presented themselves when they come in and meet me, all of those things, how much energy they have. I'm always looking at their energy levels, and the answers to the questions. Do they skirt around the questions I ask them, or are they giving me direct responses and the correct answers to my question? And when I say correct, are they thinking about what they're saying and really giving the proper answer? Otherwise,
apart from just robotic. Beck, I can remember one time, I can still vision it now, in my office, I had a boardroom upstairs, and what would happen was, for our interviews for juniors, it was a cadet role, so I was interviewing a lot of juniors, and what would happen is we'd go into the boardroom, my PA would take the person into the boardroom, offer them a cup of coffee, I would then wait for a couple of minutes and then walk in, coffee would walk in, and I'd sit there, and this young girl looked at me and honestly just froze, and I started talking to her and she couldn't speak. So then I said, is everything okay? And she said, I'm just really nervous. I said, okay, is there something wrong? She goes, I just don't like interviews. And I said, what would you like to do? She goes, is it okay if I don't look at you?
What?
And I said, sure. So she turned around. I thought she was joking, turned around, and I said, so sorry, are you serious? You're not going to? She goes, I just can't look at you. And I said, I'm really sorry. Coffee hadn't arrived. And I said, I'm really sorry, but if you can't look at me for the interview, I don't think this is the industry for you. And she said, no, I really, and she's looking at the window. She said, I really want to be a real estate agent. I said, if you can't look at people, how are you going to be a real estate agent? So I had to stop the interview, and I spent the next 10, 15 minutes talking to the back of her head about interviewing techniques. And then I walked her out and said, I'm really sorry, this is not for you, but all the best. All the best. I remember that. I've interviewed hundreds of people, but
That's incredible. That's never happened to me before.
Well, I hope it doesn't. But some people just don't interview very well.
Yeah.
What are the skills that you think are really good agent, irrespective of their role in the agent? What do you think that they must have when they first come? So there'd be enthusiasm is probably one.
Do you mean when they've started the job, or when I'm
in the interview process? Yeah. What are you looking for?
Yeah. So I'm looking, if I've advertised for someone experienced, and that's ideally if I am looking for that at the time, I wanted to know how many properties they've managed. Have they kept up with their KPIs? And of course, they're going to say yes. So then I ask them what was involved in your KPIs. I want to know how well they are with managing their time. Organizational questions as well. There's so many things I'm looking for, really, but as I've said before, it's really surrounding their attitude, their level of energy, how motivated they are, because I can tell that from just one conversation, really. I'm not one to get references on people that I employ. I do a couple of tiers of interviews with them. They go through me first. We'll go usually to a cafe, have a casual chat, might go for a walk or a phone call. Then they'll come into the office. And then the third stage is I'll interview with my director. So,
do you do a day trial? Do you put them in the office for a trial?
No, look, only if I'm not confident. But if I'm not confident, I will just go on to the next person. Yeah.
It's, the thing is, and look, you're in a management or a leadership role. You have to like the people as well. You're going to spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week with these people and be on the journey with them for their life.
Yeah.
If you can't connect with that person, they can't connect with you. If they don't show.
That is so right. And the other thing I look for that I didn't mention before is their level of empathy, because it's so important in a property manager's role that they show empathy to the tenant so much, and to the landlord. And particularly now, throughout this whole COVID ordeal, empathy is so important. It really is.
It's a skill set that most don't have. Rebecca, it's been absolutely a joy chatting to you about this. I'm sure anyone that's, hopefully you don't get inundated with people coming to trial out. Who knows? That could be your new recruitment strategy. It's been great. Thank you for sharing so many wonderful and valuable tips for us. So new entrants going to love this.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Bye.